So today we are starting ninth chapter, the passing away of Bhishma in the presence of Lord Krishna, Canto 1. Text 1. Sutuvacha iti bhita prajadrohat sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragad yatra deva vrito apatat. Sud Goswami said, being afraid for having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthir went to the scene of the massacre. There Bhishmadev was lying on a bed of arrows, about to pass away. So that was the situation of Bhishmadev. In this ninth chapter, as it is willed by Lord Shri Krishna, Bhishmadev will impart instructions to King Yudhishthir on the subject of occupational duties. So he gave wonderful instructions on Varnashram Dharma. Bhishmadev will also offer his last prayer to the Lord on the verge of passing away from this mortal world, and thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Bhishmadev was endowed with the power of leaving his material body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice. This passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feeling of love, respect, and affection for the great soul. Now we will see who all came over there when Bhishmadev was giving instructions to Yudhishthira Maharaj and at the time of his leaving the body. तदा ते भ्रातरः सर्वे सदश्व स्वर्णभूषित अन्वगच्छन् रथैर्विप्रा व्यासधौम्यादयस्तथा. At that time, all his brothers followed him on beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses, decorated with gold ornaments. Means, along with Yudhishthira Maharaj, all his four brothers, they came with him. With them were Vyas and rishis like Dhaumya, the learned priests of the Pandavas, and others. भगवानपि विप्रर्षे रथेन सधनंजया स तैर्व्यरोचत नृपः कुबेर इव गुह्यके. O sage amongst the Brahmins, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, also followed, seated on a chariot with Arjun. Thus King Yudhishthir appeared very aristocratic, like Kuvera surrounded by his companions, the Guhyaks. Lord Shri Krishna wanted the Pandavas to be present before Bhishmadev in the most aristocratic order, so that he might be pleased to see them happy at the time of his death. Kuvera is the richest of all the demigods, and herein King Yudhishthira appeared like him, Kuvera, for the procession along with Sri Krishna was quite appropriate to the royalty of King Yudhishthira. So King Yudhishthira, he looked very aristocratic when he went to meet Bhishmadev. And Krishna also wanted all the Pandavas to come in this way, like kings before Bhishmadev, so he would be very happy seeing them, because throughout their lives, Pandavas had only suffered in the hands of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan, and that party. And Bhishmadev was always against all these sufferings of Pandavas, but he could not stop them. He had no power, he was helpless. But now, at the last moment, Krishna wanted Bhishmadev to be very happy. दृष्ट्वा निपतितं भूमौ दिव्यशच्युतमिवामरं प्रणेमुः पाण्डवा भीष्मं सानुगः सचक्रिणः. Seeing him, Bhishma, lying on the ground, like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandav king Yudhishthir, along with his younger brothers and Lord Krishna, bowed down before him. And here Krishna's name is, Sud Goswami used the name as Chakrina, the Lord carrying the disc. Because Bhishmadev saw that face of the Lord. Well, when Krishna, in order to protect Arjun and in order to protect the vow of Bhishmadev, he picked up this chakrapani, this wheel of the chariot, and he ran towards Bhishmadev. So Krishna broke his own vow to protect both Arjun and Bhishmadev. So Sud Goswami is using that word, Chakrina, instead of Krishna in this shloka. Lord Krishna was also a younger cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthir, as well as the intimate friend of Arjun. But all the family members of the Pandavas knew Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord, although conscious of his supreme position, always behaved in a humanly custom, and so he also bowed down before the dying Bhishma, as if he were one of the younger brothers of King Yudhishthir. So Krishna also bowed down before him. So that is humility, and that is following of etiquettes. Tatra Brahma Rishaya Sarve Devarshayascha Sattama Rajarshayascha Tatrasan Drishtum Bharat Pungavam. Just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharat, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis amongst the demigods, Brahmins, and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. Just imagine, from all over the universe, the rishis and the Brahmins and the kings, they all assembled there to see how Bhishmadev is going to leave his body. Because they all knew Bhishmadev is about to leave his body. And Krishna is there. Just imagine the importance, the qualities, the devotion, the sacrifice of Bhishmadev. The rishis from all over the universe and the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself was there. So Bhishmadev is not an ordinary person. Not at all. He's a Mahajan. Yes, he's one of the 12 Mahajans. But besides that, he's a great personality. He had to take the side of Duryodhan against Pandavas. Just imagine, he fought against Krishna's own dear devotee, Arjun. He fought against him. Still, he was still honored by Krishna. So Bhishmadev's position is very unique. I mean, here Krishna says, anybody fights against my devotee, I'll kill him. Nobody will survive if he does anything against my devotee. And here Bhishmadev was shooting arrows at Arjun. And at one time he was going to kill him also. But here, despite that, Krishna is there when Bhishmadev is about to leave his body. And all the rishis are there. Why would rishis come for somebody who's against Krishna's own personal friend and devotee? Because they knew the position of Bhishmadev. The rishis are those who have attained perfection by spiritual achievements. Such spiritual achievements can be earned by all, whether one is a king or a mendicant. Bhishmadev himself was also one of the Brahma rishis and the chief of the descendants of King Bharat. All rishis are situated in the quality of goodness. All of them assembled there on hearing the news of the great warrior's impending death. And just imagine, they're coming from all over the universe, and there was no like WhatsApp messages all over the universe going that, oh, Bhishmadev is about to leave the body, now come. How did they get at the message? It's amazing. Technology, we don't even have that kind of technology right now. And look, now see who all came over there. Parvato Narado Dhomyam Bhagwan Badarayana Brihadascho Bharadvaja Sashishyo Renuka Sutaha Vasishta Indra Brahmad Astrito Grit Samado Asitaha Kakshivan Gotamo Atrishcha Koshiko Ath Sudarshanaha. All the sages like Parvat Muni, Narad, Dhaumya, Vyas, the incarnation of God, Brihadashva, Bharadvaj, and Parashuram and disciples, Vashisht, Indrapramad, Trita, Grichmad, Asit, Kakshivan, Gautam, Atri, Kaushik, and Sudarshan were present. All the great rishis, they were present at this time. And now Prabhupada gives a little synopsis of all the munis and rishis who had come there. So Parvat Muni. Parvat Muni is considered to be one of the oldest sages. He is almost always a constant companion of Narad Muni. They are also spacemen competent to travel in the air without the help of any material vehicle. Parvat Muni is also a Devarishi, or a great sage amongst the demigods, like Narad. He was present along with Narad at the sacrificial ceremony of Maharaj Janmejaya, the son of Maharaj Parikshit. In this sacrifice, all the snakes of the world were to be killed. Parvat Muni and Narad Muni are called Gandharvas because they can travel in the air singing the glories of the Lord. Since they can travel in the air, they observed Draupadi's Swayamvar ceremony, selecting of her own husband from the air. Like Narad Muni, Parvat Muni also used to visit the royal assembly in the heaven of King Indra. As a Gandharva, sometimes he visited the royal assembly of Kuvera, one of the important demigods. Both Narad and Parvat were once in trouble with the daughter of Maharaj Srinjaya. Maharaj Srinjaya got the benediction of his son by Parvat Muni. So I don't know what was a story behind what kind of trouble they got in with the daughter of Maharaj Srinjaya. Maybe some Purana we'll study and discuss. But Prabhupada gave a little synopsis of who is Parvat Muni. So he is always a constant companion of Narad Muni. And he travels just like Narad Muni does. Now, second is Narad Muni. Narad Muni is inevitably associated with the narration of the Puranas. He is described in the Bhagavatam. In his previous life, he was a son of a maid servant, just like we studied before. But by good association with pure devotees, he became enlightened in devotional service. And in the next life, he became a perfect man, comparable with himself only. You know what's the meaning of word Narad? There's a meaning to it also. Narad means one who gives Narayan. Nar, the. One who gives. जो देता है, Narayan देता है. मतलब one who gives bhakti of Narayan to some people, he is Narad Muni. He is the principal Devarishi or the chief sage amongst the demigods. He is the son and disciple of Brahmaji, and from him the disciplic succession in the line of Brahma has been spread. He initiated Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, and many celebrated devotees of the Lord. He initiated even Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedic literatures, and from Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya was initiated. And thus the Madhva Sampradaya, in which the Gaudiya Sampradaya is also included, has spread all over the universe. So Narad Muni is Guru of Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva is in turn Guru of Madhvacharya. And from Madhvacharya, although our Sampradaya comes from Brahmaji, and Madhvacharya, he started this. Well, he's the main acharya of this sampradaya, where ISKCON is in. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu belonged to this Madhva Sampradaya. Therefore, Brahmaji, Narad, Vyas, down to Madhva, Chaitanya and Goswamis all belong to the same line of disciplic succession. Naraji has instructed many kings from time immemorial. In the Bhagavatam, we can see that he instructed Prahlad Maharaj while he was in the womb of his mother, and he instructed Vasudeva, father of Krishna, as well as Maharaj Yudhishthir. So these stories will come later on, how he instructed Maharaj Yudhishthir and Vasudeva. Now, third Rishi is Dhaumya Rishi. Dhaumya Rishi, a great sage who practiced severe penances at Utkochak Tirath and was appointed royal priest of the Pandav kings. He acted as a priest in many religious functions of the Pandavas, Sanskar, and also each of the Pandavas was attended by him at the betrothal of Draupadi. He was present during the exile of the Pandavas and used to advise them in circumstances when they were perplexed. He instructed them how to live incognito for 1 year, and his instructions were strictly followed by the Pandavas during that time. His name is mentioned also when the general funeral ceremony was performed after the battle of Kurukshetra. In the Anushasan Parv of Mahabharata, he gave religious instructions very elaborately to Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was actually the right type of priest of a householder, for he could guide the Pandavas on the right path of religion. A priest is meant for guiding the householder progressively in the right path of ashram dharma or the occupational duty of a particular caste. There is practically no difference between the family priest and the spiritual master. So that was Dhaumya Rishi. Then comes Vyasadev or Badrayana. Badrayana means one who lives at Badrinath. He is known as Krishna, Krishna Dvaipayan, Satyavati Sutta, Parashraya, Parashuratmaja, Badarayana, Vedavyas, etc. He was a son of Mahamuni Parashar in the womb of Satyavati prior to her betrothal with Maharaj Shantanu, the father of the great general grandfather Bhishma. So he is, in a way, is you can say half brother of Bhishma. He is a powerful incarnation of Narayan and he broadcasts the Vedic wisdom to the world. As such, Vyasadeva is offered respects before one chants the Vedic literature, especially the Puranas. So that's why we chant this verse. Namaste Saras. What was that? Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam. So in this, Vyasadeva is glorified. Shukdev Goswami was his son, and rishis like Vaishampayan were his disciples for different branches of the Vedas. He is author of the great epic Mahabharata and the great transcendental literature Bhagavatam. The Brahma Sutras, the Vedanta Sutra, or Badrayana Sutra were compiled by him. Among sages, he is the most respected author by dint of severe penances. When he wanted to record the great epic Mahabharata for the welfare of all people in the age of Kali, he was feeling the necessity of a powerful writer who could take up his dictation. By the order of Brahmaji, Shri Ganeshji took up the charge of noting down the dictation on the condition that Vyasadeva would not stop dictation for a moment. The Mahabharata was thus compiled by the joint endeavor of Vyas and Ganesha. So if we go to Badrinath, we can distinctly see the cave of Vyasadeva and the cave of Ganeshji. Of course, both the caves are different, and there's a different distance of about maybe 100 or 200 meters between the two caves. And Vyasadev's cave is on a height. But still, from that cave, Vyasadeva was thinking of all the shlokas, and Ganeshi was reading his mind and writing in his cave. But the only deal they both had was Ganeshi told Vyasadeva that you will not stop even for a moment. If you stop, then I'll just pack up and go, leave. And Vyasadeva then put a condition on Ganeshi that, okay, I will not stop, but you will also not write without understanding the meaning of those verses. Not just you'll just write just like without knowing what I'm talking about. So at one point there was one moment I don't recall what verse was that, and Vyasadevji thought, and Ganeshji he took a moment to think about the meaning of that verse, and I think then he broke the pen by which he was writing. Something like that happened. By the order of his mother Satyavati, who was later married to Maharaj Shantanu, and by the request of Bhishma, the eldest son of Maharaj Shantanu, by his first wife, the Ganges, he begot three brilliant sons, whose names were Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidur. The Mahabharata was compiled by Vyasadeva after the battle of Kurukshetra and after the death of all the heroes of Mahabharata. Just see that. It was first spoken in the royal assembly of Maharaj Janmejaya, the son of Maharaj Parikshit. So that's when he compiled Mahabharata. And Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata actually. Brihadashva, an ancient sage who used to meet Maharaj Yudhishthir now and then. First of all, he met Maharaj Yudhishthir at Kamyavan. So Kamyavan was when Maharaj Yudhishthir, along with his brothers, they were gone for first exile, forest exile, when their house or the palace was burnt by Duryodhan. Duryodhan had done this conspiracy to burn all the Pandavas in the house of lac. And that's when they escaped from there, Pandavas, and they went to Kamevan. Kamevan is a place in Brajbhumi. And there's a ruins of a palace, which is said at that palace, Maharaj Yudhishthir and brothers and they used to live there. Queen Kunti was also with them, so they used to live there at that time. So there's a ruins of a palace there. Maybe if I whenever I come back, we go together. If you want to go before, Radha Krishna Prabhu can take you all there. It's a beautiful place, Kamevan. Actually, the name it is named Kamevan because it is the most beautiful forest of Vrindavan. Of all the 12 forests, that is the most beautiful forest. This sage narrated the history of Maharaj Nal. There is another Vriddhashva who is the son of Ikshvaku dynasty. Bharadwaj. He is one of the seven great rishis and was present at the time of birth ceremony of Arjun. The powerful rishi sometimes undertook severe penances on the shore of the Ganges, and his ashram is still celebrated at Prayag Dham. So at Prayagraj, Bharadwaj Rishi's ashram is still there. It is learned that this rishi, while taking bath in the Ganges, happened to meet Ghritachi, one of the beautiful society girls of heaven, and thus it discharged semen, which was kept and preserved in an earthen pot, and from which Drona was born. So Dronacharya was born of Bharadwaj Rishi. So Dronacharya is the son of Bharadwaj Muni. Others say that Bharadwaj, the father of Drona, is a different person from Maharishi Bharadwaj. He was a great devotee of Brahma. Once he approached Dronacharya and requested him to stop the battle of Kurukshetra. But Prabhupada says this Bharadwaj Rishi is the father of Dronacharya. But others say there's another Bharadwaj. But anyway, once he approached Dronacharya, requested him to stop the battle of Kurukshetra. Actually, at that time, Dronacharya had drawn Brahmastra to finish off the battle. And then Bharadwaj Rishi and Brahmaji himself also approached Dronacharya. This is not the time for Brahmastra. So you fight your own battle, but don't use Brahmastra right now. Parshuram or Renuka Sutta. He is the son of Maharaj Jamdagni and Shrimati Renuka. Thus he is also known as Renuka Sutta. He is one of the powerful incarnations of God, and he killed the Kshatriya community as a whole 21 times. And this story will come later on in Srimad Bhagavatam. With the blood of Kshatriyas, he pleased the souls of his forefathers. Later on, he underwent severe penances at the Mahindra Parvat. After taking the whole earth from the Kshatriyas, he gave it in charity to Kashyap Muni. Parshuram instructed the Dhanurveda, or the science of fighting, to Dronacharya because he happened to be a Brahman. He was present during the coronation of Maharaj Yudhishthir and he celebrated the function along with other rishis. Parshuram is so old that he met both Ram and Krishna at different times. He fought with Ram, but he accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also praised Arjun when he saw him with Krishna. When Bhishma refused to marry Amba, who wanted him to become her husband, Amba met Parshuram, and by her request only he asked Bhishma to accept her as his wife. Bhishma refused to obey his order, although he was one of the spiritual masters of Bhishma. So Bhishma learned from Parshuramji also. He learned the art of fighting from Parshuram. Parshuram fought with Bhishma when Bhishma neglected his warning. Both of them fought very severely, and at last Parshuram was pleased with Bhishma and gave him the benediction of becoming the greatest fighter in the world. Because even Parshuram could not defeat Bhishma himself. So this is how powerful Bhishma was. And that Bhishma is about to leave his body. So there are so many other rishis. I think we can. Should we stop here or should we at least finish this purport? I think we can finish this. Vashishta, the great celebrated sage among the Brahmins, well known as the Brahma Rishi Vashishta Dev. He is a prominent figure in both the Ramayana and Mahabharata periods. He celebrated the coronation ceremony of the personality of Godhead, Shri Ram. He was present also on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He could approach all the higher and lower planets, and his name is also connected with the history of Hiranyakashipu. There was a great tension between him and Vishwamitra, who wanted his Kamdhenu wish fulfilling cow. Vasishtha Muni refused to spare his Kamdhenu, and for this Vishwamitra killed his 100 sons. As a perfect Brahman, he tolerated all the taunts of Vishwamitra. Once he tried to commit suicide on account of Vishwamitra's torture, but all his attempts were unsuccessful. Even Vasishtha, now we think we get depressed and frustrated. Even Vasishtha Muni got depressed by the taunts of Vishwamitra Muni. He jumped from a hill, but the stones on which he fell became a stack of cotton, and thus he was saved. He jumped into the ocean, but the waves washed him ashore. He jumped into the river, but the river also washed him ashore. Thus, all his suicide attempts were unsuccessful. He is also one of the 7 rishis and husband of Arundhati, the famous star. And then Indra Pramad, another celebrated rishi. Prabhupada didn't give much history of Indra Pramad. Then Trita, one of the 3 sons of Prajapati Gautam. He was the 3rd son, and his other 2 brothers were known as Ekat and Dvita. All the brothers were great sages and strict followers of the principles of religion. By dint of severe penances, they were promoted to Brahmaloka, the planet where Brahmaji lives. Once Trita Muni fell into a well. He was an organizing worker of many sacrifices, and as one of the great sages, he also came to show respect to Bhishmaji at his deathbed. He was one of the 7 sages in the Varuna Loka. He hailed from the western countries of the world. As such, most probably he belonged to the European countries. At that time, the whole world was under one Vedic culture. So probably he was from Europe side, Prabhupada is saying. Gritsmad, one of the sages of the heavenly kingdom. He was a close friend of Indra, the king of heaven, and was as great as Brihaspati. He used to visit the royal assembly of Maharaj Yudhishthir, and he also visited the place where Bhishmadev breathed his last. Sometime he explained the glories of Lord Shiva before Maharaj Yudhishthir. He was the son of Vitavya, and he resembled in features the body of Indra. Sometimes the enemies of Indra mistook him to be Indra and arrested him. He was a great scholar of the Rig Veda, and thus he was highly respected by the Brahmin community. He lived a life of celibacy and was powerful in every respect. Asit. There was a king of the same name, but herein the Asit mentioned is Asit Deval Rishi, a great powerful sage of the time. He explained to his father 1.5 million verses from the Mahabharata. On earth, the Mahabharata that we have, it has 100,000 verses. So this Mahabharata is from heavenly planets. He was one of the members in the snake sacrifice of Maharaj Janmejaya. He was also present during the coronation ceremony of Maharaj Yudhishthir along with other great rishis. He also gave Maharaj Yudhishthir instructions while he was on the Anjan hill. He was also one of the devotees of Lord Shiva. And then Kakshivan, and then Atri, Muni, so many, Kaushik, Sudarshan. Sudarshan is the Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan, this wheel which is accepted by the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, Krishna as his personal weapon, is a most powerful weapon, greater than the Brahmastras or similar other disastrous weapons. In some of the Vedic literatures, it is said that Agni Deva, the fire god, presented this weapon to Lord Shri Krishna. But factually, this weapon is eternally carried by the Lord. Agnidev presented this weapon to Krishna in the same way that Rukmini was given by Maharaj Rukma to the Lord. Although Rukmini is also eternal queen of Krishna. But when the pastime is there, then this pastimes happen. The Lord accepts such presentations from his devotees, even though such presentations are eternally his property. There is an elaborate description of this weapon in the Adi Parva of the Mahabharata. Lord Shri Krishna used this weapon to kill Shishupal, a rival of the Lord. He also killed Shalva by this weapon, and sometimes he wanted his friend Arjun to use it to kill his enemies. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments, although I went little over time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have one question. What is this snake sacrifice that was done in Maharaj Parikshit's son's journey? What is snake sacrifice?
Janmejaya, because he was angry why Takshak killed my father, the snake. So he performed this snake sacrifice, and in that sacrifice, snakes from all over the universe were coming and getting killed by the fire. They were jumping in the fire of the yagya. Even from Nagalok, the snakes were coming and jumping in that fire. The sacrifice was so powerful. And then Brahmaji appeared and so many other sages appeared. They pleaded to Janmejaya, please stop this sacrifice. You're ruining the cycle here of life and death. You cannot do that. You're going against the nature. So then Janmejaya stopped, and then that's how the snakes still live. Because Janmejaya was so angry with the snakes, especially because why Takshak killed my father.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're welcome. So we have had many powerful sages, powerful kings. I mean, look, just imagine the sacrifice. All the snakes from all over universe were coming and jumping into the fire and getting killed. we cannot imagine these things happening. That's why we say, oh, it's all mythology. Very conveniently we say, oh, in Hindu mythology this is said. It's not mythology, it's history. It's a real thing. These things happened. Anyway, any other question or comment? So I guess no question. So we can stop here. You all have a wonderful day. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much.